I'm Jeff. My business is called AAT, which stands for Advanced ADI Training, and I'm passionate about helping PDIs and ADIs with simple, practical advice and guidance. If you watch my YouTube channel or enroll in my online courses, you'll realize I'm not a fan of making training over technical or complicated. And I've helped hundreds of PDIs and ADIs pass their exams using simple techniques. To support you, intelligent instructor, and the ADI network, I'm excited to share with you a full Zoom training session I recently recorded with a PDI who had failed her first Part 3 test. It's broken down into 8 short videos, which you'll be able to watch over the following weeks. 2 days after this training session, Norma confidently passed her Part 3 test on her second attempt. This series of videos is going to be massively helpful to PDIs and also ADIs who might be preparing for their standards check. Enjoy, and I hope you find it useful. Oh, hang on a second. Just need to get rid of my dog. Come on.
What kind of dog is it?
Sorry, say that again.
What kind of dog is it?
A Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, nice. My brother's got a cockapoo. Crazy dog, but nice dog.
Yeah. So how are you anyway?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Getting over a little bit of a cold, but apart from that, I'm fine.
There's been a lot of it going about, flus and colds, and yeah. So my husband had a cold 2 weeks ago, but I didn't come down with it, so I'm glad about that, given that it's been a busy week and everything, and Part 3 on Wednesday and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah. So Part 3 then. So obviously sent me some emails, but
a very long email.
Yeah, but in your own words, if you can just give me sort of a quick heads up in terms of where you are, what you're thinking about, and also how you would like me to help you.
Okay. So Part 3 is on Wednesday. My only option at this point is my daughter-in-law, who's new to the country, actually. She just moved over in September from Canada. She's a Canadian 23-year-old. She's doing pretty well with her driving on the whole. I've not sort of officially taught her, but I've been out. I know what she lacks, like mirrors, observations, planning, that kind of thing. But what's making her incredibly anxious and sort of hindering her from driving independently is the 2 big multi-lane roundabouts we have quite near us.
Yep.
So choosing lanes, they don't have roundabouts in Canada effectively. So
no, pretty much.
Yeah. So she said to me, they were in Canada for 2 weeks over Christmas and New Year. She just got back on Friday, so she's a bit jet lagged. She said to me, she's happy to help me out on Wednesday, not a problem. And we kind of went over a bit what she was feeling, she was wanting, and my help. And she said, although we've been on one of the multi-lane roundabouts, she says, I'm still not confident to drive it myself. So confidence issue is a big thing with that. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. One of my learners just passed before Christmas. She was actually the one I took for my first Part 3 that went pear-shaped. So I've been teaching for free, so not as much practice as I would have liked due to various other commitments, but enjoying it. I've observed a lot of ADI lessons. I've got a lot of support up here in Grangemouth area in Scotland, so it's been great. I'm in the Falkirk area, Edinburgh area. So I've had a lot, I've looked at, I've, observed a lot of lessons, which has been great. I've had somebody sit with me once. It's just putting it all together and not, my head gets very busy and I look and hear too many things and all of a sudden I'm faced, right, Part 3, full license holder. Yes, she's got a need, but I realise it's a bit different from reading the books. Mm-hmm. Then, if you look at what the DVSA say, that they want learning to take place, but they also want you to deal with any faults that come up. essentially. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure how I go about that for the license holder.
Right. Okay.
Sorry if that's a bit long-winded.
No. That's absolutely fine. The more detailed, the better, as far as I'm concerned. So you're using your daughter-in-law. It's going to be
Yeah.
on the principal focus is going to be on multi-lane roundabouts.
Our confidence with choosing lanes and position, I suppose.
Right. Okay. So let's try.
Spiral specifically with lights.
Sorry, say that again.
Spiral roundabout specifically with lights.
Right. Okay. So how many spiral roundabouts are there going to be involved in the route that you're thinking about using?
There's 2 large ones within 2 miles of each other. There's one right outside the test centre, actually.
Okay, so from your point of view, knowing what you know about her, what is it that's causing that lack of confidence or anxiety? I know obviously it's about what lane do I need to get into, and then what do I do next? But what is
I think
the root cause, if you like?
primarily she's not used to them and actually needs practice and familiarity with them.
Right. Okay, so let's then recognise that for what it is, because how long has she been driving for as a full license holder?
She passed her test at 18 for 4.5 years, 4 years in Canada, and then they got a car. She started to drive here end of October, and she got a car when she moved over here end of October.
Okay, so in terms of a overall general confidence in driving over here, outside of multi-lane and spiral roundabouts, how is she?
She's actually getting on pretty well on the whole. I would say her mirrors they're quite a lack, and her general observations when she moves off and things like that, I'm having to remind her, or we have a conversation about it. I've not given her an official lesson, obviously, but her anticipation and planning, maybe that would come into, of course, coming up to around about anticipating, thinking ahead earlier and all that kind of thing, which I've only really thought about the last week. So there's all that. They're used to just going on a highway, driving for miles, big open spaces, not having to almost think too much. So I think that as well comes into it for sure.
Okay, cool. So from what you've said, my initial gut reaction, but I might change this as we continue to talk, is let's not overcomplicate things. Okay, because what I want you to do, just for a moment, forget about the test. Just think, what's her name, by the way?
Emma.
Emma, right? Okay, so just imagine that you're sitting next to Emma, and she's asked you for help dealing with these, for her, complicated and confusing spiral roundabouts that she's never ever encountered before, but she's going to have to encounter on a regular basis based on where she lives. You know how to do them. You know how to do them correctly and consistently well. You know what challenges they can throw up, but how to deal with those challenges. So outside of a test environment, how would you do that? Just as a mother-in-law to a daughter-in-law, how would you do that?
With her?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd have a chat about, when we come up to them, the importance of being able to read the signboards. And then the next board after that would be lane choice, but she'd need the time to do that. So yep. I'd probably show her. I'd probably drive first, actually, and show her, by a bit of demonstration. But she has actually driven one with me, and she was like, oh, because a lot where we are, the signboards are pretty much up at the roundabout. They don't give you much time to make that decision to choose your lane. And also, I think the thing is, as well as encouraging her, once she's read it, then you've got to read the road markings to make sure, because they know the lanes split as you go round.
Yep.
And helping her sort of probably just giving her the confidence to maybe, this is what I haven't done. I haven't counted the exits with her, which I think would be helpful. That she knows that if it's the fifth exit, well, by the fourth exit, we've got to be in the left-hand side to go off on the fifth exit, but that sort of thing. But I don't know, I mean, whether I'm on the right track.
Right. Okay. So obviously, I don't know the area that you're talking about. So if you can, it thinking about the first spiral roundabout that you might encounter
Yes.
on that particular route that you're going to do, is there somewhere literally just a minute or two away from that roundabout where you could pull over and swap seats? And is there somewhere a minute or two after the roundabout where you could pull over and swap seats?
Yes. There's one. Yes, there is.
Right. Okay. So my initial suggestion would be, because I think you're thinking down the right lines. Okay. So again, outside of a test, what would be the most sensible way to help somebody through this particular challenge? And I think you're absolutely right. Probably the easiest and most effective way would be to show them first how you do it, and to give them that little commentary through when you're starting to plan for the roundabout, where you're looking, what you're looking at, how you're using that information, and then how you're putting that into practice. So if you can find a way of giving that demonstration, but just literally for maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes, something like that, and then find somewhere to pull over and then say to her, right, okay, so having watched me do it now, has that made sense for you? What did you learn from watching me do it? Or was it completely confusing to you? Now, I think there's a high, obviously we don't know, but I think there's a high likelihood that having watched you do it, it's going to maybe make things clearer for her, make her realize they're not actually quite as complicated and as challenging as she has built them up to be in her head. And if she just does them the way that you did them, then hopefully it's going to be as simple for her as it was for you. So by giving that quick demonstration, you're getting into what's currently going through her head, what's causing those challenges, and you're presenting a solution, and then immediately after you're going into that discovery phase of going, right, did that make sense to you? Was there anything that I did that didn't make sense? Which bits of what I did felt, from your point of view, sort of quite straightforward and easy? And were there any points that you thought were still confusing and difficult? So you discover a bunch of stuff, and then you go, right, okay, so we've got another roundabout a couple of miles up the road. Okay, so why don't we swap back over? And as we're approaching the next spiral roundabout, which runs through the same principles as this one that we've just done, do you feel like you've got enough now to be able to work out how to do that for yourself? Or for this first time that you're going to be doing it with me today, would you want me to just talk you through what to do in the same way as I was giving you commentary in terms of what I was looking at, where I was looking, and what I was doing with that information? Now, again, you may or may not know what she's going to come back with. She might say, oh, no, I think I've got enough. That's okay. Let's leave it over to you then, but I'll watch carefully and I'll jump in if I need to give you any extra support. Or she might say, oh, no, I think it'd be really helpful if you talk me through this one. That's fine. No problem at all. Yeah. So, within maybe another 5 minutes or so, you're doing another spiral roundabout, but you're doing it with her in the driving seat, and you either talking her through what to do and how to do it, or you're watching how she's figuring it out for herself. Either way, you then got another bunch of information that you can start working with. So if you've then got somewhere where you can pull over again, somewhere safe, somewhere quiet.
Yeah.
You can disappear inside or get her to disappear inside her head. So, right, okay, so now you've done it for yourself that time, having just previously watched me do it. How are you feeling about them now? Now, you don't know what she's going to come back with, but that's the beauty of an open question.
Yeah.
She might come back and go, yeah, I get it now. Now it makes sense. Yeah, I understand. Or she might go, oh, no, it's still not making sense. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So on that basis, then, yeah, if it's still not making sense, how about if we swap back seats and I'll do it again? Yeah, we're only a couple of minutes away from this roundabout. We can just do a loop round and we'll go back and do the same one again from the opposite direction. But again, I'll demonstrate what I'm doing, or maybe I'll get you to talk me through it, but you'll be able to do that from the passenger seat without worrying about having to do it from the driver's seat. Just tell me what you're looking at, what you're thinking, and I'll try to put into place or practice what you're asking me to do. Unless you're telling me something that's incorrect, in which case, sorry, I'm going to ignore you, and I'll point out why I'm ignoring you and what you should do instead. So you've got flexibility, you've got different ways of working. But
Yeah, that's true.
I suppose what I'm highlighting is, if that's her specific challenge, then don't make it any more complicated than that. If you've got a route where you can, excuse me, pull over before and after each multi-lane roundabout, then that gives you the perfect opportunity to have a discovery conversation, work out what's making sense, perhaps what's not making sense, what worked well, what didn't work so well, how you can possibly change things up as a team in terms of the level of support she wants, you're able to give.
Yeah.
And then you just use the same two roundabouts again.
Yeah.
And maybe you use those two roundabouts, a total of 6 to 8 times during the course of your 40-minute lesson.